Ric Flair recently explained his theory for what he thinks WWE could be up to with Roman Reigns. So we'll take a look at what he had to say. We'll also check out MVP's teaser and much more. Let's start things off with Ric Flair's explanation for the result of Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre was the first opponent in a long time that seemed to actually have a legitimate shot against Roman Reigns. And there was a lot of bogus rumors and reports before the show on how Drew McIntyre would be walking out of Clash at the Castle with the titles. So everyone had basically talked themselves into believing that there was no shot Roman was retaining. So when Roman eventually won and retained the titles, it made the result even more shocking because fans genuinely believed Drew McIntyre was winning. Some fans were upset with the result of Clash at the Castle main event, but like we talked about right after the event, Roman's title reign is historic, and they probably don't want it to end, because there are even bigger plans for the title reign on the horizon. Drew McIntyre winning the titles in Wales would have been huge, but the potential to keep doing big things with Roman Reigns is even larger. Ric Flair recently explained the same sort of idea and had this to say about Clash at the Castle during his To Be the Man podcast. Quote, "It's not that Drew didn't deserve to win, but if that's the plan, which we all hope it is, and I'm sure the company hopes it is, I'm assuming the company never hopes or assumes anything. But if the plan is The Rock and Roman, I just think the words heavyweight championship are very important in that match. And I think the belt off Roman and taking nothing away from Drew could very easily carry it and be a good champion as well. But the big match for the company, maybe one of the biggest of all time, obviously is Rock. If he elects to do that and Roman, so the way they did it didn't hurt Drew at all. And Drew, he's always going to be great." End quote. So Ric Flair brings up several great points. Drew McIntyre wasn't completely destroyed and dominated by Roman Reigns in this match. Drew was actually once again protected by WWE. Drew McIntyre actually had the match won, but it was due to the outside interference with Solo Sikoa that he lost. So it wasn't like he was just fed to Roman Reigns. Roman still needed a lot of outside interference to beat Drew McIntyre. So Drew's presentation and character doesn't take much of a hit at all. And at this point in Roman's title reign, there's no shame in losing to him either. When he's been champion for this long, he's going to be the favorite to win in every matchup. It's not like the challenger is expected to win. So losing to Roman right now does no harm to you, especially if he has to cheat to beat you. It actually makes you look really strong because Roman couldn't handle you by himself, which was the case with Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Ric Flair went on to say that WWE most likely kept the titles on Roman Reigns because that WrestleMania 39 match with The Rock could be in play. And like Ric Flair said, it's not that Drew McIntyre didn't deserve it, but Roman Reigns versus The Rock, with The Rock competing in his first full WrestleMania match in over 11 years to try to end the dominant near 1,000-day plus title reign of his own cousin, has a much bigger ring and story to it than just Drew McIntyre versus The Rock or whoever else. It's this highly anticipated matchup that fans have been talking about for years, and it finally looks like the pieces could be coming together for it. And sure, WWE calls it the main event of WrestleMania every year, the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. They throw that around very loosely, and even use that label on the Roman and Brock match at WrestleMania 38. But a WrestleMania 39 matchup between The Rock and Roman Reigns has a fair shot of legitimately being one of the biggest WrestleMania main events of all time. It just has so much real life and storyline elements to it that just takes it over the top. The Rock hasn't competed in a WrestleMania main event since 2013, during his title match with John Cena, but excluding his 10-second WrestleMania match with Eric Rowan a few years after that, The Rock really hasn't competed in WrestleMania in what would be 11 years. Then over on Roman's side, he's been having this run of his career and having the greatest title run the company has seen in decades upon decades. But the family issue with what Roman is doing is that he's pulling in and corrupting all his family members, like the Usos and now Solo Sikoa. All these family members that are being brainwashed to follow behind Roman Reigns and help him cheat to win. And this has been going on for almost 3 years in 2023. So maybe that's what finally catches The Rock's eyes. Maybe he thinks this abuse over the WWE locker room and corruption of his own family has gone on long enough, and he wants to put an end to it. Sure, The Rock would have gone up against all his family members in the bloodline during this WrestleMania program, but he's the legendary babyface. He's the hero here that would be trying to save the fans and save his own family from Roman Reigns' tyrant ways. So when you look at it like that, with the background story on top of it being the WrestleMania main event and having the Universal Heavyweight title on the line, everyone just points to it being one of, if not the greatest, WrestleMania main event stories we've ever seen. 3 years of build-up with Roman's current title reign, but his time with The Rock in WWE goes back even more. Roman Reigns powerbombed The Rock during his early days in The Shield, and The Rock even helped Roman win the Royal Rumble back in 2015. Just so many story elements and history would be involved in this legendary potential matchup between The Rock and Roman Reigns. So that was Ric Flair's story. He thinks the fact that WWE had Roman Reigns defeat Drew McIntyre is a good sign that they're saving Roman's title reign for something huge down the line, including the possibility of The Rock making his WrestleMania main event return for the first time in 11 years. Speaking of potential teaser for big things, that brings us to MVP's little teaser. During the pandemic era and even into 2021, MVP, along with Bobby Lashley, co-created the faction of the Hurt Business. MVP took Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin, 3 superstars who weren't doing much of anything in WWE at the time. He put them together, made them all champions, and became one of the most accomplished factions in WWE history. Cedric and Shelton won the tag titles during their time in the Hurt Business, and Bobby Lashley really thrived during his time in the group, with multiple WWE World titles and United States title reigns. But the idea of the Hurt Business coming back together is something that Lashley and MVP haven't stopped talking about. MVP took to Instagram this week to post a video with Omos, but MVP mentioned a line of always having his mind on business, and he pointed to the camera over to Shelton Benjamin, who was also there with him. So yet again, another big tease for the return of the Hurt Business. Omos and MVP haven't been seen much in recent months. Vince McMahon didn't seem to have much of a plan for them, and it's still unsure if Triple H has a direction for them or not. But it will be interesting to see if MVP does try to revive the Hurt Business once again. Bobby Lashley did have that bad split with MVP and feud with Omos earlier in the year, but it'll be interesting to see if MVP tries to even recruit the old leader and try to get him back with his potential new era of the Hurt Business. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with Roman Reigns and the Hurt Business? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.